This is Marvin doing his very best to not pull, even though he's very, very excited. We're going to do a little bit of road walking, and along here you either get people crawling along at 2 miles an hour, which is brilliant because you can hear them come in and get out the way, but you also get people who basically use this road as a bit of a race track, and it's so hard hearing them coming when it's windy and getting the dog out the way. But luckily we're only on here for a little bit, and then he can be off the lead again. See just in front of us there, Tumbalum. Can't see anyone right on the top, which I'm surprised actually, because it's a really crispy, nice day. I'm looking up at the side of Tumbalum right now and just trying to figure out, or playing our normal game of, is that a sheep or is it a rock? Because where we walk, normally there aren't any sheep, but lately there's been some that have escaped. But a lot of the rocks sticking up from the ground up there are white as well, so when I let him off the lead, we're trying to figure out whether it's a sheep or a rock ahead of us, basically. And I'm not sure what he'd do. He's always really interested in sheep. He's never actually been in the same field as one loose, but he's a bit too interested every time we go past one. And it's not cool chasing sheep. Okay, matey. All right, so let's have a quick check around. Nope, nothing grazing in this field. Off we go, babes. Yeah, freedom. This field is used maybe a couple of times a year, as far as I can tell, to put cows in, but most of the time it's empty. So right ahead of us there, you can see this massive solar farm that went up a few years ago. And then above that is the beginning of Henlease Ridge, which kind of is a big ridge that at the other end ends at Pant-Yr-Eos, which is the beginning of the Brecon Beacons, pretty much. This one's having great fun today. Oh, I wish I could run up hills like that. Look at him go. Good boy. Want to check in? Yeah? Oh, slobber chops. Come on. So, it might not show up on camera here, but this is quite a steep hill down. So I'm being careful because it's icy underfoot. Pretty sure his lordship's about to show off over this now. I am not so elegant going over this little stile, but he is a pro. Ta-da! Yeah. Oh, here we go. Found a stick already. Honestly, this dog had his 5th birthday last July and suddenly got obsessed with sticks. He wasn't bothered about them at all before then. But now it looks like he's always on the hunt for the best one in the world. That's what middle age does to you, mate. It looks pretty nice today. Really clear. It's been raining and dull and warm actually for the last 2 weeks over Christmas. I think on Christmas Day it was 12 degrees, which is ridiculously warm for the end of December. But we're at the beginning of January now, and we've just had in South Wales our first really hard frosts the last 2 nights. I know further north, especially in Scotland, they're suffering with a lot of snow and stuff at the moment. Right, what do we do now? We know what we do, but try and get him to wait. Just wait while I do the jiggery pokery. Right, okay. Wait, there we go. You can make it over these jump over stiles, but he's a bit enthusiastic about it. He goes for force over thinking about it, and he often clacks his legs. So we try and avoid it as much as possible. Grass eating competition again, come on, you're always the winner. I've never figured out what makes him want to eat certain bits of grass and not others. It's just like he gets possessed every now and again and starts munching like a cow. Oh yeah, there we go, some mud. You. Yeah, I think we'll be going up and round. And he won't. Oh, Marv. I don't know if you can hear crazy goose noises above the airplane. I don't know if you can see through the trees. So there's a reservoir down there. I'm going to see if we can get down to it in a bit. I'm hoping that his lordship won't get in the water because it is freezing. But you never know. He just got no sense. As demonstrated. I'm sure I've said before, I carry fresh water with me all the time in a little bowl. And I'll put it down on the floor when we're on a longer walk, and he'll completely ignore it, and then 5 minutes later he'll be drinking out or something like that. Go figure. I think I've got zero chance of not getting mud all over me here. Yeah. He always looks at me like, why aren't you just walking straight through the middle? Don't get it. To be honest, he might have a point. I'm going to get muddy anyway. I don't think you see how steep this actually is. It's very steep and very slippy. But hopefully worth it. Also, not an official path. And this is when Marvin starts doing rapid zoomy laps of me in frustration, thereby massively increasing the chances of me falling over. Yeah, I know, I'm really slow, aren't I? Okay. Okay, so this is the overflow from the reservoir. And his lordship just showing off. Are you just showing off? It's not even, doesn't even think about it. Okay, so this is me trying. Yeah, alright, yeah, alright, four-wheel drive. Okay, it's going to be very windy at the top of here, I think. Right, here we go. Beautiful. Don't get in the water. He's in the water. Really? Goodness me. Disturbing the wildlife, causing havoc, being an idiot. Well, it's a good job I brought your coat, isn't it? Eh? I have a feeling we're about to have a run-in with some cormorants. Or are they shags? I have no idea. One or t'other. Anyone know the difference? They look very cool. This reservoir, I think, used to serve Newport, possibly. It's disused. There's loads of these little reservoirs around that are too small for growing populations, and a lot of them are just left to do their own thing. I think this one is used by anglers now mostly, but seeing as I can't see any here today, I don't think we're causing problems. And he's in the water again. Do you know, there's a saying where I come from, where there's no sense, there's no feeling. Yeah, this dog is way too rangy. When he can see me, he goes miles ahead. And I've tried to stop him doing it, but not been successful as yet. Not when we're in like an open space like this. He will come back if I shout him, which I won't, because it'll be alarming. Bit loud. So I come and see how cool is this graffiti. You see the duck? It's just awesome. Big fan. Right, you'll have to excuse my pronunciation of this. I think it's called Pant-Yr-Eos Reservoir. Marvin, isn't that cold? I don't know what type of fish they fish for in here. What type of fish live in a reservoir? And do they put them back? I don't know. You look so proud of yourself. It's a triumph, really, isn't it? Come on. Nope. Picked up a stick, decided it wasn't right. Of course, if I pick up the stick, certainly it's the best stick in the world. Because it's my stick, not your stick. Yeah, definitely killed that. Good job. Where's your stick? Where's your stick gone? Is that it? Beautiful today. So this is the quickest and most direct route back home, up a very steep hill, but it goes through a farm and the stile is broken there, so it's really difficult to get Marvin through it safely without harassing sheep or farmers. So I only tend to use it when it's just me. The farmer is lovely up there though, I've spoken to him a couple of times. He's been farming that same farm for 80 years, which is amazing to me. I'd love to talk to him more. I can't imagine how much it must have changed around here in that time. So we're coming up on a little river now, a little stream. Hopefully Marvin will have a drink here, rather than finding another muddy puddle. This bit is a ford, so it's kind of a wider, shallower bit of water that you can walk across or drive across if you're feeling brave. But it makes the best noises. Is that the same stick or a different stick? I'm not getting in the water to get it. You don't want to stay still, do you, because you're freezing? Okay, ready? Retrieving comes naturally, giving it back not so much. thought I might tell you a little bit about Marvin. So Marvin is a Labrador retriever, and he comes from a working line, which means, well, there are kind of two types of Labradors in the UK at least. So show types, which are kind of the Andrex puppy, big chunky wide head, probably what most people think of when they think Labrador. And there's a working type, which is this shape. So these guys still work in the field and bring ducks back to you. His dad was a field champion, something or other, not sure. Now, the reason we chose a working type, field type lab instead of a show one was because I walk a lot. I do a lot of long distance walking, and I try to be as active as possible. So I wanted a dog that could keep up with me, and we've had show types in the past. We've had 2 Labradors before Marvin, and they were lovely, completely different personality wise, but eventually they'd get tired. And so on my longer walks I couldn't really take them with me. We got Marv 5 years ago, and he was a shock, to be honest, because he was so different to the other ones that we'd had. He's quite anxious. He's prone to whining. And we got him in 2019, so before the pandemic, but he was still very young when the pandemic hit. So he wasn't very well socialised. He's got a lot better though, and he's fine with other dogs. He's 5 years old now, he'll be 6 this year, now it's 2025. And he's calmed down a lot. He was hard work. If anyone who's ever owned, well, any dog, but Labrador, something a bit bigger, they're delightful as puppies, but then they hit teenage and it is hard. And I think a lot of people don't realise how challenging it can be when they get to their teenage phase. And with labs, their teenage phase seems to last quite a long time. You don't grow up quick, do you? If ever. We did a lot of research on where to buy him from, and we found this lovely kennel in Shropshire in the middle of England, and we went up there and the lady was great. She asked the right questions. She asked us how active we were and whether he was going to be working or not. To make sure that, you know, he wasn't going to be cooped up in a flat or an apartment all day, I think, which is great. So we went up in the autumn of 2019 to go and choose our puppy. So we've only ever had male dogs. I don't know why, really. Just, don't know. In my head, I wonder, I always think they might be a bit easier to deal with, but I'm not sure. So we went up and they had a few male pups left. and in the end there were 2 for us to choose from, and we went there, and Marvin, it's like he'd been practicing a show before we got there. He was like dancing in front of us and rolling over, and then he fell asleep on my foot. And he was tiny, he was about the size of my foot, and that was that really. He was the smallest in the litter. Well, he wouldn't think it now. And the breeder, the breeder had to take him away from the litter to feed him because he wasn't competing with the other Labradors very well for food. So she kept taking him out and feeding him roast chicken, which is great, he put on weight, but has meant he's a bit addicted to roast chicken ever since, which perhaps not ideal. And start heading back now. I've been out about an hour and a half, something like that. If I'm with Marvin, if he has maybe 3 longer walks a week, he's a happy boy. And then the rest of the time he just goes out for a quick run around the fields. So, very similar to me actually. Back towards civilization. Okay mate, wait. Okay. Faultless. 10 points. Anyone think he looks tired yet? Maybe. Hey. What? You hear the beeping. That's people in cars warning people on the road they're coming along, which I appreciate because it's not easy to hear cars, especially when it's windy, and it gives you a chance to get out the way. It's busy today up here. It's actually a Friday, so it's a work day, but it's the beginning of January, so people are, I think, trying to be active, doing their New Year's resolutions. Good luck to them. Although I do find every year, without fail, come February, there are very few people around up on the hills again. Marv, is it time for a cup of tea? I think it might be. Tea time. Well, not for you, obviously. You get sausages. on the home stretch now, back on our normal fields. And I'm just thinking about where we're going to do our next bigger walk. So I think I've narrowed it down to a couple of options. We could go to the beach, which we haven't been to the beach for ages. The nearest big decent beach from here is maybe half an hour's drive, maybe a bit more. So that's one option. Or we could go inland a bit and go to Tintern, which is near Chepstow. And there's a big abbey there, ruins of an abbey. But some lovely walks up into the forest. So I'm not sure which one of those to go for next. I think Marvin would be equally happy. They're both places I can let him off the lead. So we'll see. Let's see, keep an ear out, because just past this bit, there's kind of a bit of boggy ditch water, and he always goes on ahead a bit quicker here, so we can get in it. It's only tiny, but it's disgusting. Hopefully he's too tired to think about it this time. Nope, straight in there. Eek. He's asking if we're going to do another lap. No, mate, we're done.